Hey, Talofa, my name's Crit, and today we're going to be speaking to Haewon Park, who is doing a bunch of great stuff running book clubs in Dallas. And this month we're going to be highlighting our queer and trans folk who are doing great work out in Texas. So let me get Haewon on the line. Hope everyone's having a great day. Oh, there we go. What's up, Neo?
Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. How
Yeah,
are you?
hanging in there. Thanks for being patient. I had
No
to,
problem.
get the whole light situation set up. But yeah, what's going on, Haewon? What's going on with you?
I'm good. I'm just excited to talk to you and talk about books. But yeah, just been reading and enjoying my weekend so far. So yeah.
Yeah, what are you reading?
Right now I'm reading We Do Not Part by Han Kang. I'm almost done with it, I think. And I just noticed there's a book club for it today,
Yeah.
in Bishop Arts. So I'm like, maybe I should stop by later. I'm thinking about it. So
So
yeah.
wait, are you someone who can read multiple books at once, or
That's such a lovely question. Yes, I pride myself in it. I think there's no reason to kind of stick with one book and kind of shame yourself for not finishing it. You can always come back to it. That's the beauty of book
yeah,
reading. So, yeah, I usually read like two to three at a time. But since I'm working and stuff, I keep it to just three.
yeah.
It used to be like five or
Oh,
six, but
oh God, that's I could not handle that. I mean, even TV shows, I can't handle like I can only do two or three at a time, and then it's like okay,
that's
it's too much
understandable.
going on now. No, but
Yeah.
hey, I wanted to ask you like, what are your first kind of memories of book bans?
Mhm.
Because that's where a lot of your activism comes in,
Right.
is resistance. When it comes to these book bans and how you can really challenge that and reading as resistance. What are your first memories of yeah book bans, especially in
Mm.
Texas?
That's a great question, and I really resonate with readings with for resistance because I think growing up in Dallas, especially in the South, there's always been this notion of like books are not safe. They are not always going to be accessible, and my earliest memory would probably be, I think it was called Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky. It's hard to say his last name, but that was banned when I was in just about to finish middle school. And I remember watching the movie. I was a huge fan, not really understanding the context of why it was banned until much later when I was an undergrad. But that was sort of my first encounter where I saw like a book title um, in the school, like announcement saying like this book isn't allowed at our library.
Mm,
And I had already finished that book, been a huge fan, been talking about it. So as a person, an adolescent growing up with the notion that maybe something I'm reading isn't societally acceptable, like educationally, was really shocking because then my whole trajectory of reading books felt pressured.
mm,
Like I felt like I couldn't seek out similar veins of the same story. Like once that book was kind of taken off the list, I wasn't able to like freely kind of look at other books like that. And then another example is like The Host by Stephanie Meyer. She's the one that wrote the Twilight
yeah.
series. I loved her science fiction, and that was like one of the few that she'd written, but it got banned around when I was in high school, 2014, 2015, just because it was supposedly offensive to religious sensibilities. Um, so there's so many reasons that books get banned, and personally, I found a lot of them had to do with being attached to um, being anti-religious or being considered anti-religious in the community that I was growing up with. But explicitly, any kind of book addressing LGBTQIA plus issues and then marginalized people were often getting banned the most
Mm.
without much discussion. So those are sort of my early memories, but I would pinpoint that 2021, 2022 was really the year that I saw so many more titles getting banned because that was sort of like a more of a political movement. But yeah, I felt like one of the lucky ones, like entering college, that I didn't really have to live with all these book
Yeah.
bans. Like, there was some from the 80s, right? Like George Orwell, 1984, but I didn't see the amount that's being banned in the last like five
Yeah.
years. Yeah.
Do you think it's almost like a stamp of, like, for authors, it's almost like a stamp of I don't know, authenticity or something, if you get banned, because it's like, oh, you know what? That means I'm doing something right, or I don't know.
Yeah.
I was telling my
Honestly,
friend,
yeah.
like, maybe you want to get banned because that could help your that might help your books out. I don't know. I think it has helped some people
Hmm.
because they wear it like a badge of honor, like, oh, you know what? This was banned in this many states. I mean, not that we want the bans, but I think it has helped in some cases. Yeah. Um.
I think book bans are needing to be not taken in light of like this is contraband. Like I like that whole approach of authors and writers saying like, oh, if I get banned, so be it, and that's even better. That means like my content is that something that needs to be read, actually. Yeah.
Right. And so, what led you to the work that you're doing because you're involved in several book clubs and organizations? How did you get involved
Hmm.
in it?
Yeah, I think I would say 2023 was when I really started thinking about, oh, should I post a book review? I've always followed this thing called Bookstagram. It's a very, at the time in 2023, like a community that seemed so wholesome, and like anybody who was into books could just say and express that. And I just wanted to be involved. I did not even think about hosting things. That didn't occur until like the summer of that year at Chimlon, which was like this thing that was asked of me by a friend, Chef Ray, and she was saying that I should try it. And it was a public reading of Crying in H Mart. And I was so nervous, but people actually showed up. We just like did like a community flyer. And since then, I've been hosting book clubs all throughout the Metroplex. I used to just go around coffee shops that I could collaborate with. Now it's kind of solidified into an actual nonprofit space that I can host them. But it's really kind of grown on its own without me even having to try. Like I put information out there and people will show up to read and to mingle. So that's just been like a blessing for me. And I feel like I'm kind of just along for the ride. Like I never really thought about what I do as some kind of leadership position or anything.
Mhm.
It just felt like something that I could enjoy, and then it made other people enjoy it, and that's just, I feel very lucky, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you're starting to answer my next question was, what do you see the impact of your work? h-
Hmm.
How do you see it kind of impacting the communities? The work that you're doing and the organizations that you're involved in.
I i think I see so much of it now. Like I'm really reaping the benefits of being consistent with it for the last 2 years, because I have people coming up to me like when I'm out grocery shopping or I'm in the area downtown, and there are people that look like me that will just come up to me and say, hey, like I'm so glad I went to that last book club, or I'm looking forward to the next one because my friend suggested it. And I'm just so glad that this space exists because now I have something to look forward to monthly or every few weeks. And I have a community. And that word community has really changed my trajectory with book clubs, because I
Mm.
really thought it was more for the books at first. But now I'm really seeing the impact of creating third spaces, which is any space where someone doesn't have to come in with the expectation to pay or to provide
Mm.
something. They can just exist and share the space. Obviously, there's libraries and places that you can go to do that, but I think a facilitated discussion and activity relieves a lot of the pressure on attendees. So I've been seeing so many people regularly come, and then new people, and then a lot of transplants too, people who want to really be plugged into the Dallas community, but they want to also feel
Yeah.
safe. So giving accessible spaces to LGBTQIA plus and AAPI members, that has kind of streamlined for me, because I never really thought that I'm going to do it for this group. Like, I think it was such a gradual trajectory, and I have so much community support now, but it was only after like several book clubs and realizing, oh, like people really want to read literature that reflects their lives
Mm.
and then be able to talk about it in a safe space. So there definitely is a need, especially in a growing community like Dallas, and especially in the South. Like I didn't have that as a young person. And I didn't expect myself to stay in Dallas. And the only reason I can stay in Dallas is spaces like this.
Hmm.
So that's why I keep putting effort into it. And then people attending has just made it so fulfilling.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so how can other people in Dallas or even outside of Texas even
Mm.
support the work you're doing?
Yeah, I think if you want to come to an event, that's probably one of the best ways. But there's so many other ways that I think you can contribute to the literary community in Dallas, and that's paying attention to indie bookstores, whose books is one of my favorite in Bishop Arts. Also, like volunteering for things that create book access. So activating reading community organizations that I work with, they work really hard to relieve the book desert in Oak Cliff, by giving experiences to teens, and younger people, and then adults to freely browse books and take a book home. Um, and any local book community event, it doesn't have to be mine. I think anytime you show up to participate in a literature event, you're engaging in active discussion with your community
Mm.
there. So that's one of the best ways. And then Dallas is special. I think we have a lot to offer. We've got literary events coming up, like the Dallas Art Book Fair. Um, just showing up, I think, is one of the best ways. It doesn't have to be specifically my event, but any event in the community where people want to engage with literature and finding a safe space, that attendance is really the support that we get.
Yeah,
Yeah,
awesome. All right. Thank you, Haewon. So I also
yeah, of
wanted to
course.
plug that Nkepia has the Southern Regional Conference coming up.
Yeah.
Let me make sure I got the dates right. 26th to 29th. So there's the Southern Regional
Hmm.
Convening, and we've got travel scholarships for that are open
Hmm.
until March 9th. So make sure you get on top of that. But in the meantime, make sure you follow Haewon, and
Oh, thank you.
yeah, anything else you want to say before we end the discussion?
I'm just really honored to be on here. I think this is so wonderful what Encapia does, and I'm really excited for the convening. I'm gonna try to come out to a mixer, but this is wonderful, and I'm really glad that the community in Dallas has something like this. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to working with y'all in the future. Thank you.
Sweet. So you might be able to catch Harwan at the
I think so.
convening, is
Yeah.
what you just said. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sweet. All right.
Awesome.
Well, have a great day and thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you, Crit. Have a good
All right.
one.
See you later.
Bye.